My name is Dr. Bing Jones, and I'm a retired doctor, and I've been involved with Insulate Britain, sitting on the road and also doing interviews.
So, could you just tell me a little bit about Insulate Britain's message and really what's led to such drastic actions being taken that that we've seen in the last few weeks?
Okay, well, the essence is that I'm a retired doctor. I've been looking after people all my life, and I'm completely exasperated, as is the whole of Insulate Britain campaign. We're exasperated by the fact that the climate emergency is not being given the weight that it deserves, and that the government is not acting on the pace and at the scale that's needed. So Insulate Britain has come up with this plan. Rather than talking about the broad, enormous problems of the climate emergency, we're just going to focus on one particular issue which ordinary people can understand. So we're asking the government to insulate and retrofit houses, and this has enormous advantages. So it's a massively effective way to bring down carbon emissions within the UK. Housing is responsible for 15% of the UK's emissions. This would create hundreds of thousands of really good, proper British jobs. And the biggest thing is that it's going to lift people out of fuel poverty. Millions of people in the UK live in fuel poverty. 500,000 children live in fuel poverty. So this is a win-win-win situation to tackle the climate, make jobs, and keep people living in warm houses where they pay lower bills.
So that message is, a lot of people can agree with that, but how is it too different to the existing Green Home Grant, which, covers 2/3 of your chosen improvements up to the value of £5,000? Does that not already do enough to protect, vulnerable people in society? With everything with COVID, recovery with the economy, do you think that doesn't quite cut it? Is it something that everybody needs, or is it just a case of protecting the most vulnerable at the moment?
The government's offer, which has been reduced from 2 billion down to 1.3 billion now, is absolutely tiny. It's less than 1%. We're talking here of about £500 billion that's required. This is to do this job properly, Olivia. Your listeners do need to know that the government needs to really step up. They are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. They're pretending to do things. This is a big but doable job. It's a real opportunity, but they have to come up with enormously more resources than they're doing at the moment.
And do you think that taking action by protesting on the motorways and blocking the M25 and the Port of Dover last week, do you think that's the right way to go about it? Or is it now a case of whatever we can do to get attention for this cause?
Olivia, the problem is that nobody is telling the truth. We need to get on the motorway. If we hadn't been sitting on the motorway, I wouldn't be here talking to you now. And people need to understand the truth. The truth is really terrifying. Sir David King, who's a retired chief scientific advisor to the government, has said that the government needs to act within just a few years with really severe measures. Greta Thunberg, all sorts of international agencies are crying out, talking about code red. We have got to do something very, very serious and very quick. And that we're sorry to sit on the road. Being disruptive it hangs heavy on me. I don't want to be disruptive, but without it, we wouldn't be here talking, and people would not understand how serious the problem is, and they would not understand how little our government is doing. So we're sorry, but this is really necessary. And it also, the little bit of disruption is sort of symbolic. The business as usual, everybody's got their heads down, working hard, trying to earn a crust. very understandable. But business as usual is what is causing the climate crisis. We have got to change from a fossil fueled business as usual into a new, better world, which is sustainable.
Do you think then that for all the disruptions that's being caused, do you think it is working? Do you think your message is getting across in that we are talking about it today and people at home are talking about it? So it is working to an extent, but do you think it's working that politicians and decision makers are actually hearing your message, or is it just causing disruption to people just trying to go about their normal lives who have no say in the matter either way?
Well, we're trying to cut through the system. The system is not working. The media are not talking about this in the right sort of way. Government is not listening. We have politicians who are just talking, talk, but no action. There is nothing on the scale that's required. We really do need to get through to ordinary people, bypass a system which is broken. I've been trying to be politely representative. I've tried politics, I've tried talking, lobbying. These haven't worked. So we need to do something different. And we're sorry to be disruptive, but there is a fire in our house, all right? There's smoke coming underneath the door, and people have got their heads down, working away. They're not listening. So we've got to do something slightly different. And we're crying out, and we are getting some airtime, and we're not going to stop. And the government is going to have to either lock us all up, or they're going to have to come and talk. And really, Boris can get on with this and sort it out. This is an opportunity. So we're hopeful.
Have you yourself been involved in the roadside protests in the last few weeks? If you have, could you tell me a little bit what that was like?
Yes, I've been. I spent 5 whole days in different police custody suites in cells. I've sat on the road. I've been frightened. I've been cold. I'm old, and it's really uncomfortable. People don't do this lightly. It's upset lots of people that I know. This is not something we do lightly. And the government goes on threatening, but we will stick at this. We're not going to stop. You can try to frighten people, but I'm not here to, I'm here to tell the truth. And the truth is very, very hard. And we all need to acknowledge it. And we need to do something about it. So Insulate Britain has come up with a good plan. People can understand it. Wouldn't it be lovely if every child and every elderly person lived in a warm home and paid 10% of their bills? Wouldn't that be nice?